All right, good morning, and thank you for joining us today. We're very excited to announce that the Los Angeles Regional COVID Fund website is now open so that you can receive more information about the relief and recovery funds that are available for micro enterprises, small businesses, and nonprofits in the Los Angeles County area. I'm Tanua Thrash Intook, and I'm the Executive Director for LISC Los Angeles, what is also known as the Local Initiative Support Corporation, Los Angeles. And we are proud to be partnered with the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles Economic Workforce and Development Department, the Los Angeles County Development Authority, and the Los Angeles County Consumer and Business Affairs. We also are proud to be supported by several banking philanthropic partners, including Citibank, Wells Fargo, and Union Bank MUFG. They've all helped to make this first round of recovery dollars available for the public. For today, what we'll be doing is walking through sort of what to expect regarding the application, where and how to apply, and we'll be able to answer questions that you might have about the process. We will encourage you all to be muted the entire time if we haven't already muted everyone. And then please put your comments in the chat box and we will answer those questions. So let's get started. So I talked about the fact that the County of LA, the City of LA, and other local philanthropic stakeholders, along with LISC, have created a regional recovery fund. Our hope is to support those facing economic pressures as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In this portion of the recovery relief activities, we are going to be making grant funds available. Grants will be available at $5,000 for micro enterprises and at $15,000 for small businesses and nonprofits. Throughout this presentation, I'll walk through who's eligible for what amount based on the size of your business. Please note that our plan is to have several rounds of grant funding over the next several months. These dates may change, and so we encourage you to take a look at the website at lacovidfund.org for more information. But our first opening is planned for Monday, July 6th. We will open the portal where you can fill out the application. The application will remain open for 5 days during the week, and you can complete that application. And then once it closes on 7/10, we will let you know if you've been selected as a finalist. So let's talk about the application process. You can, again, go to lacovidfund.org. There, we will keep the most up-to-date information about everything happening with this exciting fund. You'll find the grants tab there where you can find more information out about this grant program. And the wonderful thing about this initiative is that we've got technical assistance providers and people who can provide you with additional assistance. And on that TA Providers tab, you'll find a list of a series of organizations throughout LA County that can assist with your application. If you've got any questions or if you need additional support, we'll talk about what some of that support might be. Here's a list of our technical assistance providers, or what we call TA providers. Some of these names you may know, and some of them may be located near you, but if they're not, that's okay. Many of them provide service throughout the entire LA County region. So we have the Asian Pacific Islander Small Business Program, Inclusive Action for the City, the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, Pacific Coast Regional Small Business Development Corporation, New Economics for Women, PACE, the Pacific Asian Consortium for Employment, and Lindustry. Every once in a while, my computer freezes and I cannot get it to continue. So let me try from here. Great. So who is eligible? So as a micro entrepreneur, you're eligible for a grant at $5,000. That includes anyone who is in the gig economy, is a street vendor, you're a sole proprietor, maybe an independent contractor. You might be a worker who receives just a 1099 form, or you're a single member LLC. Any of those business formations or business types are eligible to apply, and you must not have revenues more than $100,000. So whatever that business is that you are engaged in, if you've got revenues below $100,000, then you would be eligible for our micro enterprise grant. We also have the $15,000 grant available, and this is specifically for small businesses. Again, you must have revenue of less than $1 million, and we'll be looking at the 2018 and 2019 tax returns to verify revenue. This information is not needed at the time of the application. So that which is bolded is what we will need to know at the time of application. And then if you're selected as a finalist, the items that are not bolded is the information that we would collect and would need to know in order for you to receive your final award. Then there's nonprofit organizations. So our nonprofit organizations are also eligible for grants of $15,000. You must have revenue of less than $1 million. And we are looking for nonprofits who specifically are operating in or serving low and moderate income communities. This information, if you've got any questions about that, we can chat with us or with a technical assistance provider. Again, this information that we will collect if you're selected as a finalist includes looking at your 990 forms to show what your revenue is as a nonprofit organization, and we'll want to make sure that you're in good standing with the state of California. Just some additional criteria to think about as well. If you are selected as a final applicant, you will need to verify your tax status. We will collect the certificate of good standing from the state of California. We will need to we would need to also collect, if you're a veteran-owned business and you select that, we will need to collect your DD-214 form. And in order to be able to access the payment, we will ask that you complete a W-9 form, as well as provide your bank account information, the ACH form. Finally, you must be a business that was established no later than September of 2019. Our goal here is to support businesses that were in operation pre-COVID, but have been negatively impacted by COVID and has led to economic hardship. Please keep in mind for today as well that we are recording, so this information will be available later. In addition to all of that information, once we receive that or as part of that collection, if you are selected for a finalist, know that you will be required to attend a 1-hour webinar where you'll hear about additional resources, as well as completing the final documents that are necessary in order for you to receive your award. So for this particular program, we are very much interested in focusing in on prioritizing those applicants who apply who are in HUD low and moderate income census tracts. We are encouraging veteran-owned entities to apply, and we're certainly encouraging entities under the small business and nonprofit program area. If you've got revenue less than $500,000, you're also very much encouraged to apply to the program. We want you to know that we will make sure that the pages, including the application itself, will be made available in a variety of languages, those listed here. We will also have frequently asked questions, and those will be made available in Spanish, Cantonese, Mandarin, and Korean. We've got the entire application translated in all of the languages listed above here. But note that the applications must be completed in English. So the online portal will be in English, but you will be able to, in language, have a copy of that application in language and can follow step by step. If you need assistance language-wise in completing the application or know of someone who does, our technical assistance providers are available and can help with the following languages. Just a couple more slides. Please note that the application must be completed completely online. There will be no paper-based applications. You will need an email address in order to complete the application. The purpose of the email address is to, one, be able to email yourself a copy of the application once you're done, and also that is the way that we're going to reach out to you is via email. So we want to make sure that you have that. If you need assistance with getting an email address, please contact one of our TA providers. As you start the application, you will be able to save it if you partially complete it, as long as you note that you are saving it within the system before, let's say, your computer turns off or you have a major power loss. So if you're not able to complete the application, although it's pretty quick, you can save it for at a later time to complete. Once you're done with the entire application, you'll receive an email copy of your submission. So let's just go through a couple of frequently asked questions. And in addition to that, I certainly encourage you right now to go ahead and add any questions that you have in the chat box. So questions that we've heard so far. If I've applied in a previous round, given that we're going to do multiple rounds and I did not win, do I have to apply again or will my application roll over? You will have to apply again. Each round will be unique. So you will need to reply, or you'll need to apply each time around. Can I change my application after it's submitted? No. Once you've submitted for a round, you are unable to change your application. You want to make sure that you take a look at it, that you're completely comfortable with all its contents, and that way, once you hit submit, that will be the end of any edits to your application during that time period. Do grant applicants receive a confirmation that they have submitted their application? Yes, you will get an email stating that you will your application is received. How will I be contacted or know if I receive a grant? Again, your email address will be very critical to that, and we encourage you to watch out for emails from the LA COVID Fund. I'm undocumented. Am I able to apply for a grant? Yes, you will just need a tax ID number. That might be an I-10 number. That might be the number, your business ID number. Those are the items that we can use in lieu of a Social Security number, for example. Will receiving a grant impact unemployment insurance eligibility? It may. It'll be important for you to note that these funds may have tax consequences and may have other income eligibility consequences. And we encourage you to work with your accountant or someone who helps you with your taxes in order to get to the bottom of what impact it might have on you. And at this time, I will close out the presentation. We want to thank our partners again who are listed here for supporting this program. Hopefully we've got a series of questions in this chat box that we can take a look at.
Hey, Tanua, do you want me to go through the questions?
Great, thanks for joining.
And then you can answer them. Yes. Okay, so first question is, does the definition of micro-entrepreneur include a single owner S corporation?
Yes. We didn't put every type of entity possible, but yes, that you would be eligible for a micro enterprise if your revenue was less than $100,000.
Thank you. Next question is about the good standing certificate from the California Secretary of State. there's a couple of folks asking, what is it and how do they get it?
So don't worry about it at this point. We can probably put some details about it on our website. You would only need to get it if you were selected as a finalist. And part of what we can do is we are also looking at how we may pull that information, but just so you know have some idea of like where to find it, what it is, we can work on trying to get some information out into the public about that. But it's not needed in order to apply right now.
Thank you. Someone asked, what if we have not filed our 2019 returns?
If you have your 2018 returns, we will accept those. So if you don't have your 2019 returns, as long as you have your 2018 returns and your 2018 returns make you eligible for the revenue thresholds, then that would continue to make you eligible if you were selected as a finalist.
Great. If my company has more than $1 million, do you have any other programs?
So your company, it sounds like, has revenue in excess of $1 million, and you're trying to identify other programs out there. The only one that I'm aware of at this time would be the LISC National Small Business Relief Program. We can probably put a link in the chat box for people to be able to learn more about that program. There will be another round. I don't have the date as to when that will come out, but that is a possibility for you to apply there.
Thank you. There's so many questions coming in. I have to keep scrolling down, so forgive me if I'm slow here. Are you allowed to apply more than once since there are multiple rounds?
Yes, as you can only apply once in each round, but you can apply for every round that comes out as long as you have not been a winner in a previous round. So if you've won in a previous round, then no, you wouldn't be eligible. But if you have not, then yes, you would be eligible to apply again each round. I saw a question pop up about someone asking if they have two members in their LLC, but they $100,000. The goal here is to make sure that you, as long as your revenue is less than $100,000, then it's okay. However many people are within the LLC. I mean, assuming you don't have like 100.
All right, there's another question about when, how old entities have to be in order to qualify. So this person created a nonprofit this year in response to COVID.
That is wonderful, and we're excited that you did that and that you're out there getting work done. This particular fund, based on the county's working group and the city members who are involved in that, really wanted to focus on entities that have been in existence for at least 6 months prior to COVID. And so September 2019 is the date by which you had to be in operation in order to be eligible.
Okay, so this person has multiple businesses and they've asked if they can apply for each business.
As long as the business is located in multiple locations. So if you have, if you're the owner, the majority owner, and the business is located at the same address, then we would consider that a duplicate. Let's say if you own one shop in one location and another shop in another location, and they're incorporated separately and meet the revenue thresholds, then you would be eligible.
Thank you. So somebody asked if the 3 million in grants would be dispersed over 6 rounds, and yes, it will be dispersed over 6 rounds. When we share out this PowerPoint presentation, you'll see the schedule. It's early on in the PowerPoint, so you can take a look at the tentative dates for when all the rounds will open.
And of course, we encourage you to keep looking at the website, because that is where we will update the rounds to be consistent with what is happening in real time.
Someone wrote that they write grants and loans for small businesses. Will they be able to do multiple applications for clients? They can enter their email, but won't be using the same, but will be using the same browser. Sometimes applications won't allow the user back in.
I see. Yes, our application does allow for applicants to have support. So if that is, part of what you do is you help nonprofits and small businesses complete loan applications. In this case, you would be able to help them complete a grant application, and you may be asked to provide your information in case there are any questions.
Okay. Can I still receive the grant if I have received PPP or EIDL loans or other grants?
So you're still eligible. We will prioritize those who have not received those sources of support, but you're definitely still eligible if you're eligible in all the other ways associated with the program.
Thank you. And I'm scrolling through to make sure I hit the ones that haven't already been asked. Will you offer a copy of the blank application in advance so we can prepare our answers?
We are in the process of negotiating whether that will be possible. We are not sure at this time. If that does happen, we'll release an email and we'll place it on the website. The application itself is pretty quick. It asks for you to self-certify, contact information, the type of business you have, the way you're incorporated, as well as your revenue and number of employees. So it's pretty quick. We don't expect that there'll be a lot of documents that you'll need to collect at all in order to complete the application.
Thank you. Are women-owned and/or minority-owned businesses also encouraged to apply, or is the primary preference for veterans?
So we certainly encourage all businesses to apply, and certainly diverse-owned businesses and women-owned businesses are eligible and definitely should apply. We just shared there some of the kinds of businesses that would receive some priority weighting as part of the lottery that will select the finalists. But all of those other types of businesses are absolutely encouraged to apply.
Okay. Is the grant similar to the EIDL program?
No, it is not. The EIDL program is, for those of you who may not know, the SBA has their Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. That program is a small grant at the front end of applying for that program. The grant can be up to $10,000, and the grant is a complement to a loan product, and you are applying to a loan product under the SBA EIDL program. That is not what this is. This is a grant relief program, and it is not based on the number of employees. It's based on revenue size and type of entity in terms of what you're eligible for.
Great. If this person asked if we get selected, does the funding come at once or in stages?
If you're selected, and once you complete all the required items, including the webinar, we've collected the documentation that's necessary from you, you'll receive all of the funds in one lump sum.
Great. This person asked, are street vendors eligible?
Yes, street vendors are eligible. Again, you just have to complete the application. You do have to show that your revenue is less than $100,000. You do need to complete a W-9 form. So either having some sort of business ID or personal tax ID on there. And you have to complete a form that shares your bank account information so that we can provide you with your payment.
Great. A couple of folks joined late, so I'd like to remind them of the dates that the application opens and the date that the portal will close. So the application is going to open July 6th, the portal close, which is next Monday, and then the portal closes on July 10th, next Friday.
And that's just round one.
That's round one, correct. And there'll be 5 rounds following that one. So many questions, so it keeps scrolling me back up, and I'm losing my place.
So I see somebody. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask, are there certain types of businesses that do not qualify?
We we should make a list of what some businesses that may not qualify. There is a lending category that are called SIN businesses, but we actually will take that back to the county and city working group to confirm or not they are excluding those businesses from this program. Please keep in mind, part of why we're having these conversations early on is that we will have that clarified by the time we get to the opening on July 6th. So stay tuned. If you are a business, for example, that is maybe a pawn shop, possibly if that's the case, or a tobacco shop, and you're interested in applying for this grant, I will need to check with them to see if those business types will be eligible.
Thank you. There's been a couple of questions about the process for receiving the award. So there's a question, is the grant first come, first serve, or what does the process actually look like? How are awardees chosen?
Oh, okay. So it's not first come, first serve. So everybody does not need to apply July 6th, as long as you, if you're interested in being in round one, as long as you get an application in by July 10th. Instead, it's a lottery system. And so you will complete your application, turn that in, and at the end of the week, we will close the application and we will go ahead and place all of the applicants into what we call a geocoding set of activities. We'll want to understand where is the business located, so that we can provide some priority to those that are located in low and moderate income communities, and or understand for those nonprofits, who are they serving. From there, we will put on a screen to see if we can make sure we understand that everybody who is in the system is eligible to be in the system. So we'll do some scrubbing of that data. And once we get to that point, then we will run a lottery for all of the applicants who are in the pool. And those applicants who are chosen from the lottery will receive a notice from LA COVID Fund about their status as a finalist. We ask you to move very quickly in responding to that email so that we can move quickly in getting you your funds and completing the process. So it's basically a lottery system, not first come, first served. So everyone who applies will be, is eligible, could be a potential awardee.
Okay, thank you. Does your small business need to be located in a specific area within LA County in order to be eligible for the grant?
No, you don't need to be located in a specific area in order to be eligible. There is an interest in trying to identify businesses that are in low and moderate income neighborhoods, but if you're not in one and you still have revenues less than $1 million or less than 100,000, you are still eligible to apply.
Great. Okay, let's see. Tanua, if you see any questions that you
okay.
you go ahead and jump in. I'm still scrolling.
Someone asked if startups were eligible. I think I've mentioned that you must have been in business by September 2019. So if you started up before then yes. And these are grants. So there is no plan to sign you up to pay back. We're hoping that this will stimulate your relief as well as the economy. Someone asked if a business is awarded a grant under the LISC Small Business Relief Grant, are they still eligible for the LA COVID Regional Grant Fund? Yes, you are. You're still eligible for that as well. For each round, we expect there to be somewhere between 40 and 50 winners. And so that is the plan for each round or so. We also are actively in the process of looking to increase the amount of money that's available. So it's very possible that the rounds could have more winners, or we could have more rounds depending on how much additional funds are raised in the next couple of weeks.
I've seen a couple of questions about businesses that may be registered in another state but have do some operations in LA County. Would they be eligible?
That's a great question. We went back and forth with the committee about whether you had to have a license to operate either in LA County or in LA City. We will take up that question and get back to the public about whether, if you are, because we can't verify you then, I think, as well with good standing in California. So that may be an issue. Let's jot that down, Alex.
Yep. Okay, so there's also a couple questions about, is there a minimum revenue amount for micro entrepreneurs, or if they didn't make any revenue on their previous year's filings, are they eligible for this grant?
We have not been as concerned about a minimum amount. So at this point, I will say tentatively, I don't anticipate that being an issue, but we will let us look at that matter. It may be, there may be a nominal number that we set for that.
I've seen a couple of questions about are 990Ns acceptable filings for 501c3s, and that would be yes.
The first round will open July 6th, and you must have been in business by September 2019. So we'll take, let's take another, I would say just under 15 minutes. So we'll probably end this call at about 10:45. I noticed that some people have decided to drop off, and that's fine. I just wanted to thank all of you for joining us this morning and learning more about the LA Regional COVID-19 Fund. You can get all the latest up-to-date details on lacovidfund.org. And what we'll do now for the next 10 minutes or so is we'll go through a few more questions to see if we can get them all answered. We'll be hosting additional information sessions this week, and we'll update the frequently asked questions with any of the questions that are asked here, where we said we would get you additional information. The grant application right now will not be available until July 6th, but some have asked to see if we can get it out earlier. We will let you know if that's possible, and that information will be available on the website if that's the case.
Okay. I see a question. Allison Crawford, I see that you're trying to get me a question and I can't find it in the chat. If you want to just plug it in again for me, and I'll pick it up at the bottom of this Q&A. Let's see. We have a question if a federal tax ID is sufficient, or is a social security number also required?
Other tax ID forms are fine for the application. So a social security number is not the only tax ID number we will accept.
Thank you. Allison, I see your question. I'm not sure that I understand the context of it. If you can give us a little bit more, we'll try to answer it. Again, you'll still be eligible if you received PPP or EIDL.
You will only hear from us. You'll hear that your application was received, and then you wouldn't hear from us again unless you are a finalist, and then you would hear from us again. Otherwise, you should prepare for applying for the next round.
Are there any restrictions on how the funds are spent?
No, there's no restrictions. However, we do ask, how will you use the funds? And we list out several, working capital options for how you might use the funds. We encourage you to use all your best efforts in order to use the funds in that way, to support local job creation, the maintenance of your business, and to stimulate the local economy. So those are the things that, we encourage you to do if you are awarded the opportunity.
Again, when the application portal opens on July 6th, you can find a link to the application on the lacovidfund.org website on the grants page. That link is there now, but it's not live, so you can explore around the website to find it, but it won't become available until the application portal opens on the 6th. And I think we've answered this a couple times, but I keep seeing the question pop up. So we can say again that we're looking for businesses that were in operation prior to COVID-19. And so I think we're looking at a business needing to be in operation since at least September of 2019.
There's a question about an equity lens. The good news is that the LA County and City Working Group are watching this process very carefully, as the majority, if not all, of the funds are really coming from those entities. And as such, we are working to ensure an equitable distribution of resources across the county, within the city of Los Angeles, and to the extent that we can, across various business types. So that information will be something that will be collected and made available and to the public as the county and city requested so. So keep in mind that both your city and county staff members, as well as elected officials, are watching to ensure that there is an equity lens applied to this program, and that a diverse set of businesses, and one person asked in particular, that Black businesses are able to access this resource.
Okay, so Allison was asking, please address how to separate two businesses run out of the same home. Both have been in operation since prior to the date we mentioned. Allison, I'm not sure, I think you mentioned in your comment before that you didn't have potentially separate financials for the businesses. This is a specific question that I think you could reach out to the LA COVID Fund at list.org email address, and we'll help address your question specifically.
There's a question about income determination. We'll be using income tax statements as the main source to validate income. If you're selected as a finalist, that will be required at that time. In order to apply to the program, that is not required at this time.
For micro entrepreneurs, is the grant 5,000 or up to 5,000? The grant specifically is 5,000. Joseph asks, will restaurants and bars be eligible?
Yes.
Again, if you don't win an award in the first round and you're interested in applying for subsequent rounds, you'll have to reapply. As Tanua mentioned, when you apply for the first round, you'll receive an email with your entire application included. So you should be able to take that information and plug it into the next round.
Someone stated that I started a sole proprietorship in March, but converted to an LLC. Am I still eligible as of October 2019? As long as you can document and show that that conversion took place and it's the same entity, yes, you are eligible.
Do you have to have a maximum number of employees to qualify?
No, we are not looking at employee numbers. Right now, we're focused on revenue numbers.
Are faith-based 501c3 organizations eligible?
If you're a 501c3, that's a different entity from a faith-based organization. But if you are a 501c3, regardless as to what your, if you're faith-based or not, yes, you are eligible.
When referencing the $100,000 in income, is that net or gross?
Gross.
I'm loving all the questions, everyone. Thank you.
So we'll take just a few more and then we'll close out for today. We thank you for joining us today to learn more about the LA Regional COVID Fund. We ask you to stay up to date with lacovidfund.org at that website, lacovidfund.org. We will be releasing the first or opening the first grant portal on July 6th, and we'll be in touch about additional details via the website if we're able to at least give you a chance to take a look at the application before that time. Know that if you apply, it is a pretty short and quick application, but once and if you are selected as a finalist, it is at that time that we'll collect all the documentation to verify your income and your location and all of that. So we ask that you have that ready to the extent that you might be a finalist. If you need additional assistance, we have technical assistance providers. That information is listed on our website at covidfund.org. We encourage you to reach out to them if you need access to a computer, the internet, need to set up an email address, or need in-language support, or know someone who does. Please let them know that it's available there. A couple more questions?
Find a couple to wrap up.
We will not be checking on your IRS tax status. That is not going to be part of the purview of this grant program. The number of grant winners and applicants may vary from round to round, but we anticipate that we will have somewhere between 40 and 50 who will be awarded during each round.
One technical question. What time does the portal open on the 6th?
It'll open at 12 a.m. Time on the 6th.
And again, if you have specific questions, feel free to either reach out to any of our technical assistance partners. You can reach out to us at lacovidfund@lisc.org. And you can find a lot more information on the website, lacovidfund.org.
All right, well, we have reached the hour of 10:45 and want to thank you again for joining us for this morning. We look forward to seeing your application going forward for the LA Regional COVID Fund Grant Relief Program. And you all have a great day. Be well and be safe.